What's going on, guys? Sorry if I'm sounding a little stuffed up. Allergies are kicking my ass today. Also, didn't get a meat prep video up last week. I know I said I was going to try and get one up each week, but put the clips together. Didn't really end up having a whole lot, so figured I'd just combine 12 weeks out and 11 weeks out. I'm in the same block right now, so they actually will be fairly similar. Right now, I'm still incorporating a lot of exercise variation. So you're going to notice, right now you see like the beltless high bar. You'll see front squats. You're going to see pause deadlifts, close grip bench blocks. A lot of variation in the main movements. So that for me right now is just, for one, to work on some weaknesses like my core. I feel like I need to bring up my core quite a bit. I think I became a little bit too reliant on the belt. So I'm trying to get away from that, do a lot more beltless work, which is definitely paying off, I feel like, already, and it's only been like a month, maybe a little longer. And then also to stay healthy. So I've talked about it before, being a conventional deadlifter and then being a low bar squat competition movements, my low back and just my back in general takes a beating. So, anyone who's low bar, you're going to feel it a little bit more in your back. Me being even, a little bit taller, I'm about 6'1", and I have a lot more anterior tilt. So my back is working very hard when I'm low bar squatting. And then obviously in the conventional deadlift, your back's doing a lot. So that is, that's what I believe led to all the low back issues I was having. That, and probably along with maybe not bracing as well as I could have. So again, coming back to the core, one of the reasons I'm working on my core so much. But this is quite a bit of variation for me being in a meat prep and being I'm about 11, 12 weeks out here. So, most lifters are probably going to be starting to get more specific at this point, adding in more competition movements. Whereas I'm only hitting, one competition squat a week, one competition deadlift a week, and I am hitting 2 competition bench even right now. That's just, my bench recovers much quicker, and in most cases everyone's bench is going to recover much quicker, so you can do that. And plus, bench doesn't involve my back at all, so I'm not worried so much about it. But still, just 1 competition squat and 1 competition deadlift a week, and I'll actually keep it that way up until roughly like 8 weeks out. I think it's just going to depend on how I feel, but as of now, that's the plan. Keep it to 1 a week until 8 weeks, and then I'll bump it up to 2 competition squats. I'm actually not going to incorporate 2 competition deadlift days until I get about 4 weeks out. That is just, again, for managing my fatigue and staying healthy. So deadlift, just the most taxing movement of them all. Being smart about how much volume you put in on that competition deadlift is going to be crucial. Now, this is for me, again, me personally, I'm talking about my meat prep. So with somebody else, that might be different. I might actually prescribe something completely different for somebody else. They might be doing competition deadlifts 8 weeks out, twice a week. So this is just in regards to my specific meat prep. And main point I wanted to hit on was the exercise variation that I have currently. Probably a little bit more than most, but again, this is what's best for me. This is what ultimately will lead to the best performance come meet day. So specificity will increase, once we get to about that 8-week mark, and then again on that 4-week mark. But right now, working on those weaknesses, staying healthy is the goal. Pause deadlift right here. I've mentioned it on Instagram a few times. Probably my favorite, not probably, it is my favorite variation for deadlifts. And it's always been my favorite variation for any of the competition movements. With squat, pause squat. With bench, since I always pause all my bench, a long pause on bench has always been my favorite for bench. And then deadlift, which was actually the last that I started to incorporate it on, but I wish I would have started sooner because I can already feel the carryover. Again, check the ego, man. Check the ego, because on a pause deadlift, it's really a great tool to help improve your bracing. It's not to see how much weight you can move. You're not going to be doing a pause deadlift in a meet, so really, what does it matter how much you pause deadlift? Focus on that just getting uncomfortably tight and bracing as hard as you can prior to the pull, because if you don't, a pause deadlift is really just going to fold you up. You'll know whether or not you're bracing well when you go to pause, and if your form just completely breaks down, or if you're able to hold that pause for a second and then finish the movement. So hopefully this video helped you guys, give you a little bit of insight on where I'm at right now with this, 12 weeks out, 11 weeks out point. And each week I'll kind of hit on the focus, and I'll get a little more into specifics, as we go forward with what I'm trying to do for me to perform my best come meet day. Also, new Whitney SPTs coming very soon. Be on the lookout. What's going on, guys? Wanted to put together a short little instructional video. Been getting a lot of videos lately with the deadlift where you guys are pulling the weight fine, but what you're actually doing is hyperextending at the top or at the lockout. So pretty much just to show you first what it looks like, I'm going to show you just a full lockout, complete lockout. So this is a full lockout. I'm standing completely erect, shoulders back, knees are locked. So that's a good lift. For those of you competing, that would get, white lights. What I've been seeing from some of the videos, and hopefully this angle you can see it, you'll notice I'm gonna pull the weight all the way to the top, and I'm gonna hyperextend, so I'm gonna kind of lean back a little bit. It's like you're just exaggerating your lockout, which ultimately what you're doing is you're hyperextending at the lumbar spine, which isn't safe for one. Wrist injury, just like too much flexion of your lumbar spine or rounding, and you don't want to do it. It's unnecessary. You're actually creating more work for yourself. I mean, if you've already gotten up to a fully erect position, you're locked out, you're good to go. Those of you competing, the problem you're going to run into besides the injury factor is when you hyperextend, it's pretty much impossible not to bend your knees a little in order to lean back. So you could pull the weight, lock it out, and if you hyperextend and your knees slightly bend, you're gonna get red lights in a meet because you're gonna have soft knees, as they call it. So I'll show you what that looks like. So hopefully you can kind of see my knees there. But ultimately, lock out to a fully erect position. So you should be perfectly straight up and down. Back should just be perfectly vertical. No hyperextension or leaning back. Hopefully this video helps you guys. I see it a lot in meets, actually. Seems like something easy to fix. Like, you guys would probably see this and be like, oh shit, I could correct that right away. But yeah, you see a lot of like newer lifters in meets, they get red lights and they're not sure why. And that's what it is. They get that soft knees is what the judges will probably tell you. So it's just when your knees aren't completely locked out. So hopefully this helps you guys. Cut this video here. Talk to you next time.